since the last version. Of course, the ultimate best girl, probably the only worthy winner ever of Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll looking for new yachts. I'm like, oh my god, I think it's so bad, right? But yeah, like Katarina, right? Probably the only worthy winner ever in Crunchyroll. Like, yeah, like the best girl last year. Freaking carrying the animal soldiers, right? So, of course, you know, I think Bakarina is one of the best animes ever. One of the best isekais ever, right? And I want to discuss some of the girls, right? Some of the boys. Even though I do think she mostly fits with most of the female characters, though, honestly. But yeah, I want to make a tier list here, right? Talking about that. And it's kind of funny because, I mean, most, right? Usually, when people do like a ship war tier list, right? It's like, oh, here's all the couples in My Academia. What is the best couple? Is the love story between like Todoroki and Momo better than the love story between like Red Riot and Alien Queen? You're like, I guess that's a discussion to have or something, you know. But in Bakarina, it's like, oh, she has like 10 or so love interests. She has so many love interests. Everyone's in her harem. It's almost, this list is almost every character in anime because everyone is trying to smash Katarina, right? So this is almost like a character tier list, instead of just being a tier list of, you know, like who is her best love story. Wolf or Vampire. In her anime, it's more like it's every character, almost. That being said, though, before I start here, this list here then, going into this here, it is of course much more focused on actually, you know, who should she marry. This is not a list of like best character or worst character or whatever, right? This list is focusing on like, this is who I think would be the best couple, you know, best romantic interest for Katarina, Bakarina, right? So I'm not talking about like, oh, this is the strongest character. I remember once I did a tier list of Black Clover, right? And obviously, like, Melona is best waifu. That's what I said. Melona is by far the best waifu in Black Clover. But, for example, I think one very nice waifu is Mimosa, right? So I was like, oh, Mimosa, she's like A tier, S tier waifu, right? People were like, well, Mimosa is super weak. You can't have Mimosa in A tier. I'm like, I'm talking about marrying her, not like her power scale. Like, you know what I mean? You can have a power scale tier list, you can have an actual marriage tier list, right? So anyway, I have most of the characters from season 1 and season 2, right? As I mentioned, there are a few more down here. It's like, you know, most of the characters, I guess I excluded her mother and father, and I guess like Maria's mom and so on, but it's mostly all the active characters, right? The only character, I guess, that had a lot of screen time that I did not put in tier list is the oldest brother, because he's actually really into yaoi, right? The oldest brother is like, oh, my little tortoise! So he's like the only one who really seem to care about Katarina at all, really. And also the second brother is also actually seems to be in love with his fiancée, right? I suppose. But so those two aren't in here. Almost every other character with a voiced line is basically in this tier list. Because everyone is trying to smash Katarina. So anyway, let's get started. I think I'm going to easy ping first, right? And I think that Maria is my, gotta marry cookie girls. Okay, so let's talk about that. This is something I've been saying since season 1, of course, last year. I think Maria, Sora, of course, Yamato. She's also voicing Yamato. That's what she should win, because she's now doing the best waifu in One Piece. That's gonna win this thing. That's just that added the bonus. She's my favorite girl in Bakarina and my favorite girl in One Piece. It's like, my wife is in both of them. No, but I really think that Cookie Girl, you know, from a narrative standpoint, she definitely is the best woman to marry. I would say by far, because of course Katarina is afraid of her. You know, she's the woman. She's like, oh, she's gonna kill me. She's to take my place and all stuff, right? So it's definitely, I think, the best part if she marries her antagonist, right, in that sense. So from a narrative standpoint, I think she makes the most sense from like the counter position, right? Because obviously in the original game, right, she hated her and so on. So they're the best one for that alone. Second thing, they do hang out the most, I would say, and now they have the trees in the academia, right, or the move, I guess. It's gonna be mostly her and Katarina, so that again, point for her. She basically told Katarina in the end, of course, is the one that she loves her, right? She's like, I love you, Katarina, Sama. She's like, I talk about boys here. I love you, I like girls. So it's like, I talk about boys here. But Katarina, of course, couldn't get it. But, you know, certainly, I think she has by far the highest chance of any female character. And also, generally, you know, Katarina is into diabetes, right? She loves cookies, she cooks all the time, and this girl makes the best cookies. So, yeah, I think she's easily her, you know, her true love. If you have to pick one girl, by far, I think Maria is the... Yeah, she's Campbell. She's gonna win this thing. So, that's easy. And then from the boys, I think it's fair to say that, of course, her actual fiance, right, is number one here. He... In season 1, I wouldn't put him before Alan or whatever. In season 1, I wouldn't say that he has the highest chance of winning or actually marrying Katarina more than Nicole or whatever, right, of all the boys. But in season 2, of course, he's been kissing Katarina a lot, right? He is smooching on that best girl a lot. He's been getting a lot of actual, you know, not, you know, like base 3 or whatever. He's getting a lot of base 1 rather than Katarina. He's actually made her understand that he loves her and actually kissed her several times and so on. So I think he easily is. I mean, I think Maria is a better relationship for her, but this is also like a chance of winning. And I think he's the original fiance and he actually has the most advances to her. It's the one I would argue honestly that Maria was leading, right? She's like, I love you. That's how season 1 ended, but how season 2 ended. Yeah. So these are obviously I think the two person in the lead, right? Like by far. They're both leading, and he makes sense from a narrative standpoint too. He's supposed to, of course, be the original husband, right? The original fiance, actually. So he definitely has the highest chance of winning. And then we get to Keith, though. So I picked a girl Keith because she's adorable. So gender bender Keith. Keith definitely has like the number 3 advancing here, right? Keith definitely pushes herself into from like an advancing standpoint. But I put Keith in absolute no chance. Yeah, so this might be when people get, no, Keith should win. No, so yeah, so Keith, so I kept arguing early this year, right, in the episodes, in the review part. Keith is losing heavily, right? So even though Keith has almost kind of got into, you know, the fiancé position, right, about how much time he kissed Katarina and so on, you know, Keith got rejected, right? Keith just got shut down by Katarina. So, and that's clearly why I put him in the bottom, right? Because he actually more or less got into where, you know, the other leading person was, right? He was behind and he kind of quickly jumped back to it. But of course, she reacted him. So that's why he's the bottom, right? I think actually, I would probably put Keith in we have Teddy Bear too, but otherwise Keith is probably by far in the bottom here. So, a reason why Keith is losing out, right? And she, as a woman, probably a bigger chance. You know, so Onishan, Little Immortals, yeah, Ero Manga Senses, whatever. They're probably a bigger chance for it. But the thing with Keith was that Katarina actually did understand that he kissed her, right? And actually got, oh, you kissed me, but you clearly thought I was a girl. You were confused, right? So when it came to her first kiss, he was like, oh, it's a dream. She was like too stupid to get it, right? With her brother, though, yes, she actually did understand that, you know, he was trying to smash her, and she was like, no, you were just confused, you were dark magic, you were just, you know, possessed by evil magic, right? You don't love me, I'm your sister, yeah, that's weird, yeah. So she was reacting him, right? He kept pushing on her anyway, and she reacted him again. So he got reacted like 3 times, I guess, in total, especially the second time. So yeah, I think he's lost, basically, in my opinion. He lost, right, in the season 2 finale, basically. And the teddy bear is like the only thing that she hates. So the teddy bear is a douchebag and her only real enemy, right? Yeah, that's the only true enemy of Katarina. But you know, with this anime, the teddy bear might eventually fall in love with her anyway. But yeah, I still think Keith has a higher chance than the teddy bear. But I do think Keith has the lowest chance though of all the characters love with her. Okay, so now we're getting trickier here. Now we're getting tricky part. Okay, so I have to guess that Celine has a low chance then. Definitely higher than Keith. She hasn't been rejected by her. She hasn't been rejected. You know, and the teddy bear, of course, is lower than everyone. But so Selena has the Lima syndrome. So as I said in my review in that part, Stockholm syndrome is when you fall in love with your captor, right? And people, I saw even, I think it was Crunchyroll posted a video about Selena, like Nicole Stockholm syndrome. That is clearly incorrect. And a reason why I'm like, oh gosh, can you just have the right term? How can it be? What she has is called Lima syndrome. as I kept saying in that video. So Lima syndrome is when you are the captor, right? It's when you kidnap someone and they fall in love with you instead. Or I mean, sorry, yeah, that's yeah. But you fall in love with them, right? If you kidnap someone and they love you back, that's typically Stockholm syndrome. I live in Stockholm, right? In the past, once that Stockholm, capital Sweden. It was in the NK bank robbery, like 57, I believe, or something. I've been at the NK actually. I was still used after a murder happened, like 15, 16 years ago. So whatever. So I know where that place is. Yeah, Stockholm syndrome. I've been at that place. There was still this Swedish minister got Anna Lindh's name. Yeah. Happened it's not on the same place but closer, but whatever. Whatever, I'm getting off track here. But she doesn't have it. She has Lima syndrome. She's the one that kidnaps Katarina, and also Sora has it too, right? But she falls in love with her victim, right? Yeah, that's Lima syndrome. But anyway, so she's actually one of the few girls that she's kind of in love with Katarina, but also kind of loves her husband, right? Her fiance. More so than the other girls. Opposite example, Mary is in love with Katarina by far, right? Not really caring about Ellen. But Selena is actually kind of into her fiance, so that also puts her in a lower chance, because even though she clearly fell for Katarina, she also has somewhat, not really. She's also kind of in love with her fiance, right? So kind of a mixture of that. So I put her a low chance. Maybe even no chance, because she actually might be one of the few characters that actually is willing to not try to smash Katarina, but I kind of think she wants to. She kind of wants to, cheat with Katarina. Yeah, she's like, she wants to get married to her husband and then, be Katarina, has a mistress on the side, a side dish there, right? But anyway, I'll put it down here. I think Raphael probably has a lower chance though. He kind of wants to get in there. But I feel he is, likewise, he's kind of like ignored by Katarina, right? He was the bad guy, of course, season 1, and now he's redeemed himself. But I guess there's some chance because they're gonna work. Okay, I guess I kind of look at it as, okay, fine, they're gonna kind of work with him and so on. So he has a lot of options, what it's called the propinility effect, where it's pronounced. But there is this social effect, I can explain it pretty quickly. Propicune effect, whatever, so something on P. And basically the effect is that the more you see someone, the more likely is them to whatever, right? Marry you, befriend or whatever. So basically, this is pretty interesting. So basically, if you live in an apartment complex that has 10 floors, right? And if you live on the first floor and this really hot babe that live on the 10th floor, chance of smashing her is decreased per floor, right? So if you live on the same floor, like the first floor, both of you, the chance of you actually hooking up is massively higher than if she lives on the 10th and you live on the first floor. Because you're gonna see her so much more on the first floor, right? It's like saying hello in the morning, right? Yeah. But if you both live on the 10th floor, you might share the elevator and so on instead, right? So that is like, you can mathematically calculate that at the average, and it's much, much higher. And one of the reasons why is also not just because the chance of seeing each other, but also that the mental effect of seeing someone is reducing the threat from them. So basically, especially as a man to a woman, right? If you're gonna ask a girl out, and she's seen you like 50 times because you're neighbors, it's easier than if she's seen you once, right? Even if you don't have an actual connection, maybe you're saying hello in the morning, because every time she sees you, the likelihood of her being afraid of you, or kind of, thinking you're a dangerous guy, is reduced. That's like a mental effect, right? So even if you don't actually know you, and it also comes into what's called the halo effect. So the halo effect is kind of how you observe someone and you get benefits if you like them. So for example, if someone asks, say you like this person called Lisa, you think Lisa is an intelligent person, right? And someone asks you, do you think Lisa's good with economy? You don't have actually notes about that, but you're gonna say probably yes because you like Lisa, right? So that's kind of a similar thing too. So every time you see someone, they kind of will have like a better opinion about you. Unless, of course, they have a negative halo effect, where you're seen as the bad guy or whatever reason, right? They actually dislike you every time. So him at least working together with Katarina. So in that sense, Raphael has a higher chance because he's working with her and Maria, right? He's gonna be a lot in her life. So he's gonna be able to, do that kind of flirt with her during the break or something. He has at least chance. He has a lot of so basically a lot of people hook up you know, at the office, right? Yeah, he has that chance, right? You know, to smash his coworker, right? And the other guys basically lack that. There's 2 new guys coming in at the end of last episode, so they are not here because I haven't read the manga, right, or the novel, so I'm just like anime. But those guys would likewise have a higher chance too. So in that sense, I guess Raphael has a higher chance because he has a lot of like interaction with her in the coming season, or currently kind of working there. But I think he's like pretty ignored by her though. Likewise though, Sora of course has the same possibility, right? Everything I said with Sora is true with Raphael. However though, Sora is super hot though, so I will put it up here honestly. I put him here at the beginning. So he's definitely the husband. I mean, Sora is super attractive. They are hot though, but come on, Sora is really attractive, and he has also a kind of a Lima syndrome, right? As I mentioned earlier, Selena, kind of in love with her from capturing her, and then she kind of frees him. So similar to Raphael, but she also kind of likes him, right? And then he spent a lot of time with Katarina during season 2. And also then working with her, just like Raphael. So everything I said about Raphael is true with him as well, right? The typical logical conclusion, it's called, right? Like everything that is true about him. So he has to be at least higher than Raphael, right? In every logical aspect, he has to be at least 1 tier higher than him, at least, maybe even 2 tiers higher than him. And then he, you know, gave her a neck kiss and everything, kind of put the game almost up here, and he didn't get reacted. He didn't get he's not really kind of here, honestly, for me. He's like almost on their level, but not really. It's like first spot in the husbando row, or maybe he's going up there. And yeah, I might react to Blue Period. I have to say that I am disappointed in anime because they have this really weird. They start a storyline and it closes immediately. But yeah, I haven't decided about Blue Period, honestly. I'm confused about anime. Let's go with Mary though. I kind of feel that Mary is like no chance because it's kind of funny. So what it is with Mary, she's probably the most in love with Katarina, almost, right? That's the most horny, thirsty girl. Of the female characters, she's definitely the most thirsty by far, right? And that kind of makes her into a narrative standpoint. She's definitely the Netorad character, always getting angry and always spying Katarina and so on. And I honestly kind of feel she's in the bottom because it's like the author is like, this woman, oh no, she's never gonna get it because Katarina can't see it, right? So I feel I'm just sorry about that now, but I think she's probably, I mean, from a narrative standpoint, she feels really low because she's super Netorad, and also she's probably end up marrying Alan right anyway. But I guess she's kind of like here or maybe. But I think comparing her to Sora, I think she's lower than Sora, right? For Katarina to marry. But in a sense, she's a very like Yandere, kind of dedicated, codependent wife, though. So pretty good to marry her. She would do anything for Katarina, right? So in that sense, she's a good woman to marry. But she's kind of weird, and I feel Alan in the same way has that thing too, where he kind of accepted that they're both, the ultimate conclusion for Alan and Mary is for them to get married, right, and also then smash Katarina on the side, right. So kind of, they both kind of want like a weird polygamy marriage, right, where they both do each other and her. Like, that's their weird dream. I feel they have the weird. Yeah, some weird, threesome dream or something like that. There's something strange with all going on there. But I think she's a better wife than he's a husband, though. So I guess like this, but yeah, I see you're actually having lower chance of Sora, definitely. Okay, so then Nicole, I think he has a higher chance. He's not married now. He's still getting in here. He's probably up here. I do think he should obviously marry Fray, and he really should reconsider, right? And Fray was like awesome and very similar to Katarina. So I feel he's like, you should probably, drop that. I really wish he'd drop that, especially as Fray was she's like, I want to be a strong, independent woman as well, and so on, right? And he was like, I still love Katarina. Right? I still love Katarina. Yeah, he kind of, I love Katarina anyway. It was never disappointing. But I still feel it's up here. Where is Fray then? I think she's a higher chance than... they also work together, probably higher than Raphael though, yeah. And she's super hot. Actually, I think Mary's is higher than Alan though. But Fray is like kind of the dark card. Because the reason I say with Fray though is that she's very, very intelligent. Fray understands everything. She understands the genders into her, right? And she's very, very like understanding. God damn it. She's very understanding and so on of everything, and kind of figures out the secret. So if she really wants to do Katarina, she can, right? She's probably the smartest character in the whole anime, so she has the possibility of that. That's going for her, I think. Higher Raphael. Ginger also higher than kind of fit in there too there, but Ginger gets a weird Katarina's pantsuit. Yeah, she got some dirty pantsuit, so definitely. And every old girl got jealous, right? You can argue kind of Katarina has an easy chance seeing and smashing those two and marry, but I think this is pretty fair. I do think Sophia is probably a higher chance than Mary, though. Mary got this weird Nettorer thing, but the thing with Mary is that, you know, she reminds me of like the mermaid, Miro-chan, for example, in Nishio with Monster Girls, where she kind of wants to be Nettorer, you know, she kind of likes it, you know. That's the weird thing with Mary. I feel like, doesn't she actually kind of is into it, like watching her with other girls? Is that her thing, kind of? I think Sophia is more straightforward, you know. Sophia is like, I'm gonna marry you. My dream is to have like a white castle with you and go to this dragon and defeat it and let's get married and so on. Sophia is definitely kind of childish on it, but she keeps doing that. She keeps putting Katarina in her dreams as her husband, right, over and over again. And Katarina is like, oh, he's kind of cute. You're into Yuri, yeah, it's cute, you know, yeah. So, and obviously it's kind of her best friend, right? I would argue she's probably so high as her brother, honestly. Yeah, I feel Sophia has been high up here. Maybe even higher than Sora. But Sophia is like kind of into this, telling her she wants to marry her, right, in her own way. And obviously Katarina, you know, loves her former spirit soul too, right? So that bonus definitely. Think about it more. And then you have Anne, you know. Okay, Anne is really tricky because Anne is her ultimate maid, right? She's the original waifu. As her first waifu she seduced, right? And Anne is awesome, and Katarina does really love Anne. She's the maid though, so Anne has the narrative going against her to marry her. She's not a royal family person. Very dedicated though to her best girl. Anne is hard. So Anne definitely higher than. I mean, she's also not like a Selena level. She's definitely higher than. And then the side girls. Yeah, I mean they're both kind of cute. Ginger got her pantsuit though. Ginger got inside of Katarina's pantsuit though. So she got that going for her. She kind of beat most of the girls to getting intimate with Katarina though, pretty quickly. And she's tsundere, cute. But Anne, I mean, it's like her OG wife. Yeah, her first love interest, right? Anne is the first woman she seduced. And this image, of course, when Anne sees her as a man, right? She's like, oh, she's so hot, yeah. She's like, oh, I want to smash male Katarina, yeah. So she's getting super turned on by that, right? I mean, obviously, Anne is madly in love with Katarina. The first, again, love interest. I feel she's higher up than all the other side girls, definitely. But probably a harder time than the kind of intimate harem characters. But, you know, she kind of gets in there on like a side story all the time. Anne is hard. Anne is very hard to put, I feel. Very hard to put where she is. And the chance of winning this thing. I'll leave it here for the moment. And then we go, you know, psychopathic Yandere girl that appeared in the end. She's obviously going to fall in love with Katarina. So I put... She gave Katarina pep. So that's obviously halfway in to smash her. She's probably seriously higher than Kito. And I really mean that because Kiko reacted, right? Kiko reacted. She has some kind of like, oh, you're interesting, oh, girl. So she is Yandere for Katarina. The interesting point, of course, mostly, she's in love with Katarina, though, right? Typically. As every other character is, right, basically. So that's gives her higher up. But she's like an evil, dark magician girl and kind of like an unredeemed Raphael, right? So we have to put... She has to be behind Raphael. And she's, you know, psychopath and so on. So, yeah. But the thing is that I kind of put her in the list because obviously Katarina is going to somehow redeem her, right? Or something. Like she always does. So, Katarina will certainly make her a good person in the end. She's already in love with Katarina, I would say, though. So, I mean, she's younger for Katarina, right? So her love for her is fine, right? And, yeah, probably getting up to later. But I think it's fair to put her behind Selena, though. That is at least already kind of best friend to Katarina in her story, right, with her episodes, and honestly still ahead of Keith. We got Keith and then lastly, of course, we have Suzanna. And as I mentioned, they didn't put her husband because he's actually in love with his brothers. He really is ignoring Katarina. He's one of the characters that barely cared about Katarina. He's so into his ototos, so he didn't care. She's definitely a higher chance than these girls. They're very tricky. She's probably here, right? She's a very tricky kind of a stalker woman. The thing with her is that she's kind of more of the pervy Obasan in typical Henry. She's like, Katarina. She's more that kind of the trickster auntie that's like, should I help you get an action? Yeah, she's kind of weird. Kind of wants to watch her do other girls, right? Yeah, she got her stuff going on there. She's the kind of the weird mom or the weird auntie character in that sense. More like that, right? Kind of, I guess, the Oneshan, but I think more like an Obashan character. Yeah, kind of like she's kind of like if your mom has a younger hot sister, she's that kind of character, right? Like she's your mom's much younger sister. Like your mom is 40, but she has like a 25-year-old sister, right? Like 15 younger than her, and you're like 15. Like, and that's super hitting on you and kind of flirty, but she probably won't do it with you, but she kind of hits on that. She's that, very young auntie character. It's like, I kind of like you, but not really. That's who she is. And she's very manipulative, right? And very tricky, and she also works for Katarina, just like these other characters, right? And she's kind of flirting with her in her other form, and very deceptive and so on. Yeah, she can probably force her way up here, I suppose, but she's somewhere here up here, because she's the kind of woman that would trick Katarina as seduce her, and then would actually marry her, kind of a bastard. Yeah, she's the kind of the one-night stand woman, kind of wants the one fling one time, right? So pretty bad wife in that sense. So okay, this is the original. Let's freeze that shit. Yeah, that's the first the draft here, guys. The draft of Ship Wars here of Katarina. Yeah, I think this fits pretty fair. I think Maria. I gave the first start with Maria, right? I feel Maria really should win, given, again, she's the antagonist, she's the main enemy to Katarina in the beginning, right? But also perfectly aligns what Katarina wants, right? Cookies, yeah, she's the cookie girl, she's the girl that Katarina saves, right? And her mom is kind of Katarina and so on. She already has her mom's approval, right? And she tells Katarina, isn't she the first one really to tell that she loves her? Yeah, isn't she the first one really to kind of just openly tell Katarina she loves her and be like, I want to marry you and so on, right? Of course, Katarina doesn't get it because you're an idiot, but yeah, Bakarina doesn't get it. But Miss Campbell, I think, is the first one to really outspokenly want to marry her. And the thing with Mary, because even though Mary is very into Katarina, right? Mary is into her in more like a sick way, right? Honestly, yeah. Mary's like, I also want to marry you, because she's more always like food on her jealousy, right? So, where Maria is like, I love you. And then Mary is more like, I also love you, she's more like, I refuse to be left outside, right? So I think Mary, in that sense, that's what kind of in here, because she doesn't actually want to win in a way. She kind of enjoys being, the girl on the side, right, staring to her through the window. She wants to get netted, right? Seriously, I think that's kind of where she is. And I think Alan is kind of similar, and they both kind of agreed to kind of do it both with Katarina and look at her. So they have like a really weird, etchy kind of thing going on there, yeah. Because at least with this thing, I feel, right? I honestly kind of put almost gonna put Anne higher than them. This kind of tricky here, yeah. So the top list, this is definitely number 1 and number 2. We could argue that Sora is kind of up here. He definitely is the furthest for Katarina after these two. But I think this is fair, because he definitely is behind I mean, he would be here, of course. He wouldn't be like in the middle here, but I think this is fair to have him here. Kind of as a potential husband, though. Sophia, definitely a potential wife. I think she's much further than Mary. And Nicole in the same way. But Nicole also, did start to, of course, date Fray, right? And started to kind of... I wish, as I said in the review episode, I really wish he had actually declined Katarina and actually went away from that. And it would be great if he actually left the harem, right? He kind of jumped out there on himself. But now his sister motivated him to do it. And that's one thing with with Sophia. If Sophia didn't try to get her brother to marry her all the time, I would put her probably in the top list too, because she constantly is telling Katarina that she wants to marry her, right? In her dreams and her fantasy, in her Yuri romance way. She wants to marry Katarina all the time, but at the same time, she's also helping her brother. So it's a little weird. But I guess you could argue that she's so in love with Katarina that if she can't marry her, he has to marry her to become sisters. Yeah, so she's like I think that she, of course, wants to marry her herself, and the brother's like a failsafe. If I can't get you with Yuri, what about my brother? So she's kind of like, if she doesn't go to Yuri path, I can put my brother in there. Yeah, so she has like a double strategy, I guess. So that feels fair. Arguably, you could put her higher up there because she's also using her brother to get kind of married into Katarina anyway. So fail-safe strategy, and that's kind of how they feel though, in a weird way. They're like, let's, sleep with her on the side, right? Weird, storyline there. I kind of want to put Anne almost higher than both of them for that reason. The more I think about it, the more I feel that Mary, especially Mary, doesn't want to win in that way. She likes to watch, right? Yeah, I that's my reason. Yeah, I feel like almost Anne's like more real there. Fray, Ginger. I think Fray could marry Nicole too, though, so it's kind of a little bit there. Where Ginger seems to be more genuinely in love with Katarina, though. Only Katarina. She has more than one love interest, and Ginger is like sundering it until the end, where she just accepted she loves Katarina. And she did bring the candy bouquet, though. Oh, the candy bouquet! I feel Ginger's pretty high, honestly. Ginger called with the candy bouquet. That was like, oh my gosh, she gets Katarina, in a more authentic way. I guess she's actually a better wife than Suzanne, though. That's probably fair to say. I'm gonna put Ginger higher here. And I feel, yeah, she's a weird aunty character that wouldn't actually want to marry. She want to seduce her one night stand woman, yeah. Put her in her here, yeah. Not a good wife. Not a good wife for her, no. But she wants it, though. She wants it one night. Yeah. Ginger feels so authentic, though. I kind of want to put Mary behind Ginger too, honestly, because I think Mary is trying to, in a way, sabotage her own chances in that way. I guess it's fair to say that Mary will be behind Alan, though. Alan has more genuine want to win, though, and Mary is like, I kind of want to lose because I enjoy losing. Yeah, see, she has that kind of weird thing going for her, where I feel there's a strong anti-argument against Mary, right? Mary is kind of trying to lose, in her, in her hen way, yeah. So that feels pretty fair, and I guess, as I mentioned, while Keith has a lot more, been much more intimate, right? It's still his sister, and she reacted that, error manga, my sister can't be this cute or whatever. Yeah, she reacted that, and that's why I put Keith as a girl here in the gender bender episode, because it felt like Keith had a bigger chance if Keith was the woman and she was the man, because then Keith could go for that typical, error manga or whatever, I'm the kid like sister, yeah, he could go for that. My sister can't be this cute, I have to kiss her kind of strategy. The cute younger brother is harder to play, I feel. that strategy is harder to play for the storyline, but he got reacted. He's the only one that actually is reacted, right? And also Teddy Bear. Yeah, those are two only reacted characters. But I can feel Teddy Bear, in a way, he might redeem himself and fall in love with her or whatever. But yeah, I guess I should put the dog in it, the black blob thing. Probably the highest Teddy Bear. It depends. I put Teddy Bear is to kind of illustrate where I feel Keith is, right? Because Keith and Teddy Bear are the only two reacted characters. So even though he has much more genuine love, I feel, than, for example, kind of trickster auntie character, someone, right? He's the only one you gotta know, right? So he really has no chance. Yeah, Katarina did not play on that field. No, she reacted it. I mean, it's fair. What do you guys think? I feel like this is the ultimate thesis of Katarina. I feel like this is objectively true. No one can argue against it. I feel it's the ship war is completed. I feel I'm gonna summarize my feelings over this last season here. We have the next coming, right? We have the movie coming and so on, or a movie but 3. That's introduced 2 new guys gonna work with. They will probably have, as I mentioned, the same kind of level that Raphael has tried, working with her and so on. And I'll probably put them behind Raphael. They will have his chance, likelihood probably, just with like a lesser backstory with her, so they probably have a low chance, right? And that season would again even more make Maria have a bigger chance. Working with her and so on, right there, even more on her, and I guess also increasing the rest of the girls he works with, right? The rest of the waifus she's actually spent time with at the office. And basically has 4 waifus at her office, right? More or less. And also, of course, 2 husbandos plus 2 new. So she has 4 waifus and 4 husbandos at her office. So a lot of harem action there, definitely. But I think Sora is by far. I mean, he kissed her really. I would say Sora is number 3 or number 2, right? Actually, in intimacy with her. So he didn't, of course, react right compared to Keith. Keith got like kicked out. He got like, oh, that's pretty nice. Yeah, so that's why he's obviously crushing Keith. I mean, comparing these 2 characters, he's like likely as ahead of Keith. I mean, Keith is out and he's getting closer, right? The only thing that I wish though is that of course Maria will kiss her too, right? And I said that last review too. The only thing I wish is that Maria actually would, physically tell Katarina she loves her, right? That's the only thing I feel the anime lacks though, generally. That would be my biggest bit about anime. Because we have like 3 boys, going into actually kissing her, right? But none of the girls, like, especially I feel Mary, given how obsessively Mary is written, as being so into her, like, Yandere and Yandere kind of thing going on there, psychotically into Katarina. You would be mad that she would kiss Katarina or, Oppa grab her or whatever eventually, but just do it, right? You could argue that none of the girls does that. It's just a little silly on the U report, honestly, or that Mary actually isn't really into it. She has this weird obsession, yeah. So with her, but I think that Maria instead, it should happen there. It would be my biggest complaint. But anyway, guys, that is the ship list for Katarina. I went through this for a few weeks. I had some time over today, right? Since there are very few animes now on Fridays, we're gonna do more this stuff for Friday, definitely. When I don't have animes to watch, just briefly here, if I don't have anime to watch, right, or games, whatever, I try to do like 1 or 2 live streams, when the time is over, right? Yeah. And this season has some really good animes, but it doesn't have that many good animes, I feel. And today it's on like 1 anime interesting, and that's Blue Period. That is that might come out tonight. Last week was on Saturday, so that's one reason. I did watch the Idol show though, which I think was fair. It wasn't like the best thing ever. It was just when it comes to Station Project, I dropped that last week because I liked it, but I just felt that it wasn't like super good because it was just too nice. They're basically doing an anime of like a live action, They're also doing a live action and an anime of an Idol show, right? But it's supposed to be Idol competing against each other. And if you watch a live action show of that, so the like top model they was fighting and bickering, and that's what I want to watch, right? But in this anime, they're too nice, they're too nice and friendly. So I feel like I can't really connect to that. I want to see them girls being like, I hate you, you took my boyfriend. I want to see that stuff happening, but they don't want to do it in anime, right? So I'm like, okay, it's kind of boring then. It's like, yeah, I want to see them actually go head to head and hate each other, right? Where's the point of watching that's a kind of, reality. It's like a reality show without, the drama, right? Like, what's the point then? I've seen so many reality shows, and so it's just kind of it's a nice anime, but it's too cuddly, I feel. That being said, though, from the same company, I do love. I'm still watching the other show, though. Just not reviewing and reacting to it. But Dogen Kobo is also doing, of course, My Senpai's Annoying. That was really good on Tomorrow. So after that, yeah, that was a really good anime. Fantastic, honestly. I love, senpai and kawaii love stories. I always try to show my, Usaki. My Usaki. Oh, I talked about my new mouse too. Ooh, look at this mouse. Oh, yeah. But anyway, I'll say here lastly, Tomorrow. Yeah, I'm actually really excited for more of senpai kawaii because, again, I love my guitar, I love Usaki and so on, right? But in those senpai kawaii storylines, the senpai isn't usually that good for the kawaii. I'm not saying that like senpai in Nagatora would be a bad boyfriend. He obviously would be a great boyfriend for her, but he's like the nicest guy ever, right? But at the same time, he's just a very nice, sweet boy, right? That kind of likes his girl. So that, it's fine, but he's just like a nice guy, right? Doesn't mean that she can't love him and say like, yeah, he's a nice guy and she kind of likes him. But yeah, it makes sense from a typical teenage drama, right? But it's not more than that. But in senpai kawaii, in this like co-worker senpai kawaii, the episode 2 tomorrow. That actually was like, wow, this senpai, he's actually really helpful. he saves her job in a way, right? Kinda, and works overtime to help her with her issues and talks to her and so on and all that. He's actually like a really, really good senpai. That she will fall in love with him because he's like actually really actively trying to teach her stuff and helping her and going the extra mile to be like a really good senpai to her. That actually makes a lot of sense. She did propose to him in episode 1 there. Probably won't go anywhere because she was drunk, but still. I actually really liked that because I was like, man, it's actually been a while since we had this senpai core, that kind of typical rom-coms thing where I felt that the girl being in love with the guy makes perfect sense from the beginning. Yeah, he's actually a really nice guy to her, right? Really helpful, really skilled, really competent, and so on. With the other ones, it's like, yeah, the guy is a nice guy, but there's nothing special with senpai. In some of the other animes, they're just nice, right? But they don't have like much more to offer than just being a nice, fair person to her. But anyway, see you guys maybe today with Blue Period if it's out. Maybe we'll play it otherwise, because tomorrow with Macadamia, we're gonna read Endower Arc tomorrow live stream for that. Comparing manga and anime, last week we did the villain arc, right? So now it's time for the last anime arc there, the Endower Agency arc. So anyways,